State of July 2025, indicating that the prosecutor in Illinois County in the state of Michigan has alleged that it appears that a felony was committed in the state of Michigan by John Skelton. It further appears that it is impossible to determine within which county the offense occurred, even though an extensive investigation was conducted. Now, therefore, in accordance with Michigan Compiled Law 762.3, Michigan's statutes annotated 28.846, I do designate the county of Illinois, the state of Michigan, the county in which the alleged perpetrator of the felony shall be prosecuted and punished, and that the county of Illinois shall bear the burden and expense of prosecution of this cause. Again, signed by Danielle Hageman Clark from the Criminal Bureau of the Attorney General's Office. All right. Anything else?
Not from the people, Your Honor.
You don't want to talk about leading questions?
I thought you wanted to.
No problem. Judge, just a couple things from defense. One, with the understanding this is a preliminary examination, I'm going to relax any objections on leading questions. I believe there's going to be some questions about emails and maybe some text messages. Due to lack of memory, I will not object to the people asking leading questions on those topics. As far as venue, I'm going to stipulate to everything for today, but I want to be clear, Judge, if this does proceed to trial, I'm going to take a very different approach. But the way I'm looking at this matter, Your Honor, is if this does proceed to trial, this transcript will be my most important tool to advocate for my client. So I'm not going to make problems with procedural issues right now as much as I can relax on that, because I want to learn more about the transcript and take it from there.
I understand what the counsel is saying, and I do appreciate that. I think that better the flow of the preliminary examination, the easier it will be for counsels to use it in the circuit court. However, I don't anticipate that we will get too far afield from the rules of evidence, and I would ask everybody to be somewhat mindful of that.
Of course, Judge.
Anything further?
Nothing to fetch, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor. And we would waive any opening statement and just get right to it.
We'll also waive.
I guess, thank you for that, and I do apologize I didn't place our names on the record. Jackie Van Wert and Douglas Hartung for the people.
William Amadeo, P76194 for Mr. Skelton, who is to my left. John, please state your name for the court.
John Russell Skelton.
And Your Honor, I guess one more preliminary thing. I'd ask for a mutual order of sequestration, no objection to the OIC being present. And if anybody's been released for subpoena, no objection to them being present. But obviously, if the witnesses are going to testify, I'd like them sequestered.
If you have been subpoenaed as a witness in this matter, I'm going to be asking you to go into the hallway. You may talk about what's on sale at Meijer this week, Walmart, whatever you want to talk about. You may not, however, discuss your testimony, whether you've already testified or you are about to testify. You may not discuss any elements of the case while you're in the hallway. Who is your first witness?
Tanya Zuvers.
Okay, Ms. Zuvers, you're welcome to stay. There's no sense in you to go out and come back in. But anyone else who's been subpoenaed as a witness or believes that they're going to be a witness should go out into the hallway. And again, do not discuss your testimony with your fellow witnesses or anyone else.
I would indicate for the court that I do not see any other witnesses who we've subpoenaed sitting in the courtroom today. However, I do see all the cameras in the courtroom, and we do have a number of witnesses who aren't here today.
We'll continue to have that admonition delivered. And again, I would just ask that you could, with any of your observers, ask ask that they dress appropriately for the courtroom. I don't want to be a real stickler about it. I'm not going to exclude anyone. I'm not going to put this on YouTube. But I will tell you that because this is a courtroom, I think it's important that the observation of decorum be observed. And I know we've gotten to a spot where tank tops and shorts are the norm, but we're still here, shirts and ties and suits, so I think that at least long pants and shirts with sleeves at least are a requirement.
Yes,
Shoes as well.
Yes, Your Honor.
And Judge, defense
I know
will
that sounds
have,
odd, but we did have someone come in the courthouse without shoes on, so.
defense will have no witnesses, Your Honor. Of course, rebuttal's always depend upon witness, but we have no witnesses in the gallery.
I don't know if I'm going to upset anybody, but somebody's microphone is here and it's in my way, so I'm covering it up. I don't know if somebody wants to move that or if it's going to affect
Can you
anything.
move it somewhere where it's better for you?
I don't.
That's a big
Yeah.
piece of equipment.
Thank you.
You may call your first
The
witness.
people would call Tanya Zuvers.
Ms. Sewers, step right up there, raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth so help you God? I do. Please be seated. That microphone in front of you does not amplify your voice.
Okay.
However, it's very important that we be able to hear you in that microphone because that's where the transcript comes from.
Okay.
Please state your name and spell both for the record.
Tanya Zuvers, Tanya Zuvers.
You may answer.
Ms. Zuvers, if you don't understand a question or you need me to repeat it, just let me know. I talk really fast, so if you don't remember something, just tell us you don't remember, okay? Do you know John Russell Skelton?
I do.
And how did you know John Russell Skelton?
He was my husband.
When did you meet him?
Around August of 2000.
Where'd you guys meet?
I had a friend who was married to John's cousin, and they wanted the two of us to meet, and so they invited both of us to their house to play cards.
At the time you met John, were you divorced?
Yes.
Do you know if John was divorced?
I don't remember if I knew he was divorced. I knew he was separated, and then later found out he was not divorced yet.
Did you have kids from your prior relationship?
Yes, I did.
In 2010, how old were they? Or strike that. Let me ask a different question. When you met John, how old were they?
9 and 13.
Girls, boys?
Girls.
What were their names?
Brittany and Courtney.
Did John have kids?
He did.
What was her name?
Catherine or Katie.
At the time you met him, do you know what her age was?
I think she was a 6 or 7.
And do you know if at that point in time he had custody of Catherine?
She lived with him, yes.
Where were you living at the time?
I was living with my parents.
In what town?
Morency.
And that's in Michigan?
Yes.
At some point in time, did Catherine no longer live with John?
Yes.
What year was that?
I believe it was in 2001.
And do you know how custody changed on that?
Yes, his ex-wife petitioned for custody, and she was granted custody of their daughter,
Do you know his ex-wife's name?
Michelle.
During the course of your marriage, well, let's go from 2001 when Catherine moved with her mom till 2010. How often did John exercise parenting time with Catherine?
I believe it was 2 times.
Do you know if he communicated with her otherwise on the phone or any other way?
I believe he did. He would have phone calls with her. There was not a regular set time.
Did you do anything to prevent a relationship with?
No, I did not. I encouraged him to have his relationship with his daughter.
During the custody battle that John had with his ex-wife, were there ever discussions from John about being a part-time dad?
I believe so. He didn't, that wasn't something that he wanted. He really wanted custody of her.
Did he say why?
I don't recall.
Some point in time you get married.
Correct.
When?
2002,
September?
September.
Before you get married, did you tell John that you spent some time in prison?
Yes, he knew that the first night we met.
Right. Tell me the conversation you had with John about that.
I don't recall exact words, but that I had gotten in trouble and spent 10 months in prison, and I was still on parole when I met him.
Did you tell him what the offense was for?
I did.
Tell me what you told him, as best you can remember. I know it was a long time ago.
It was a sex crime, and that I was on a sex offender list.
And did you give him the details of that sex offense?
I did.
Without naming names of anybody else involved, can you give me a brief description of what that offense involved?
I had an inappropriate relationship with a teenage boy,
And how old was he?
14.
The John Russell Skelton we've been talking about, is he in the courtroom today?
Yes, he is.
Can you point to him and identify him for the court?
He's sitting at the defense table in orange.
In orange, thank you for clarifying. Your Honor, I'd ask the record reflect she's identified the defendant.
Stipulate for prelim purposes, Your Honor.
Okay.
Thank you.
Did the defendant express any concerns to you about what you disclosed to him?
No,
And you said this is way before you got married.
correct.
Did you go on to have children with John?
Yes, I did.
Tell me about the
I had
kids.
3 sons.
Okay. Who's born first?
Andrew on November 20th, 2001.
What grade was Andrew in?
He was in 3rd grade in 2010.
Okay. So he would have been 18 on November 20th, 2019?
Correct.
And,
Then next is Alexander William.
okay.
He was born on November 4th, 2003.
What grade would he have been in 2010?
1st grade.
And he would have been 18 on November 4th, 2021?
Correct.
Have another son?
I do. Tanner Lucas, he was born on October 20th, 2005.
What grade was he in
He
2010?
was in pre-K.
And he would have been 18 on October 20th, 2023?
Correct.
Tell me a little bit about Andrew.
Andrew loved the computer. He loved anything Star Wars related. He loved going to school. Very smart. But I would be told by his teachers that he wouldn't get his work done because he was busy helping the underdog get their work done instead of doing his own.
Okay. Tell me a little bit about Alexander.
Alexander was the inquisitive child. Wanted to know what made whatever he was looking at work or tick, so to speak. If you had a cell phone, the first question would be, can I see your phone? I want to see your phone.
Okay, tell me a little bit about Tanner.
Tanner was my baby. He was Alexander's shadow. If Alex was doing it, Tanner was going to do it too. He was just starting to develop a personality. He was only 5 in 2010. Starting to make friends, and all 3 boys love to be outside playing, riding their bikes, jumping ramps.
What else did they do outside?
Play with their dump trucks. They would dig up dirt out of my garden and haul it across the yard and make mountains or...
Were the children, any of the children, on any medications that they had to take daily?
Yes, Alexander and Tanner both have been diagnosed with asthma, and they both had a pill that they had to take every day, and they also had rescue inhalers and a nebulizer. If it was bad enough, then they would need an actual breathing treatment.
Okay. Was there any time of the year that it was more severe than others?
Yes, in the fall during harvest season was worse. If they got sick in the winter with a cold, they would tend to be worse. And then in the spring when pollen's flying.
How long had Alexander and Tanner had this asthma issue?
I'm gonna say, as far as taking the daily pill, it had been probably a year for Alexander, maybe a little bit longer for Tanner, because he had a severe allergy or asthma attack and was in the hospital for a few days when he was 2,
Okay.
I think it was.
And that was Alexander that was in the hospital?
Tanner.
Tanner, okay, thank you. Did the kids know your name?
Yes, they did.
Did the kids know their dad's name?
Yes,
Did they know your phone number?
they did. The home phone number, yes,
Did they know your address?
they did.
Did you teach them?
Yes,
Why?
that's what moms do.
Okay.
I remember being taught before I started school, my phone number, my address.
Did you teach them what to do if they were in danger?
Yes,
And what's that?
to call 911 and there will be someone on the end of the line that can help you.
Did any of the children have passports?
No, they did not.
Did you have a passport?
No,
Do you, to the best of your knowledge, did the defendant have a passport?
not to my knowledge.
Where did you live when you got married? I don't need the exact address, I just want the town.
Morenci.
And
We
you-
always lived in Morenci.
Okay, so throughout the whole course of the marriage, you lived in Morenci?
Correct.
Did you have family that lived nearby?
Yes.
And what family?
My parents, my daughters, most of my extended family lived within an hour's driving distance of Morenci.
I'm going to ask you to give me some names because some of these names will come up later and I just, to make it make sense. So can you tell me, who are your parents?
My parents are Donald and Beverly Zuvers.
And you indicated you had some sisters.
I do.
Okay. Their names?
Carrie Waters, Jenny Sutherland, and at the time, Tennille McCann.
What do you mean at the time?
She's now remarried and has a different life.
Oh, okay, I thought you meant at the time she's your sister and she's not.
No, she's still my sister.
Okay. What's her last name now?
Kimball.
Okay, perfect. And so most of your family was local or somewhat local, or?
Correct.
All right. Do you know if the defendant had family locally?
Yes.
And which family members would that be?
He had an aunt and uncle, actually two aunts and uncles that lived nearby, three cousins that lived in Morenci. They all lived within the Morenci zip code, not necessarily the city limits.
Can you give me the names of the aunts and uncles that you just talked about?
Lisa and Tim Kern, Richard and Charlene O'Brien.
Okay. What about cousins that you had knowledge of at that time?
A cousin, Brian O'Brien, a cousin, James O'Brien, and a cousin, Tasha Kern.
Did the defendant's parents live locally?
No,
And where were they living at the time?
Jacksonville, Florida.
What are their names?
John and Roxanne Skelton.
Does the defendant have any siblings?
Yes, he has one sister,
And her name?
Lucinda.
During the course of the marriage, did you work outside of the home?
A couple of times I worked at a local carryout, part-time as a cashier.
But for the most part,
I was a stay-at-home mom.
did the defendant work outside the home?
He did.
And I want you to, as best you can, try to go back to 2001 and tell me where he was working at that time.
Okay. He worked at Dura, it was a factory here in Adrian. Was laid off from there and through Michigan Works, went to truck driving school and got a job with CR England.
And do you know where that was located?
They were located in Utah, but it was over-the-road trucking, so he might be gone for a couple weeks at a time.
What is over-the-road trucking?
Long haul, like you might pick up a load in Michigan and take it to Utah, or pick something up in Colorado and take it to Wisconsin, or just across the country.
Okay. Do you know if there was any limit to where he would or wouldn't go?
Not that I remember.
And when he left CR England, do you know where he went after that?
State Line Farms.
Do you know approximately what year?
I'm gonna say 2002. Yeah, 2002.
During the course of your marriage, would you and the defendant have conversations about his work and the type, like what he did, how his day was, and things like that?
Yeah.
What was he doing for State Line Farms?
He was a farmhand. He would drive semi, hauling. At that time, they planted tomatoes, fields and acres of tomatoes, and he would drive the semi hauling the tomatoes to the factory to be processed, or in the fall when corn and wheat were harvested, beans were harvested, he would maybe drive either to the mill or to the farm to be stored in the silos.
Okay. What else?
And then during the winter time, there was equipment to be cleaned, maintenance. They also had pig barns that when the The adult pigs were sent out, the barns had to be cleaned from top to bottom before the baby pigs could come in, and he did that as well.
Do you, at that time, did State Line Farms have pigs on the property?
Yes.
And where was that located?
In Morenci.
Do you recall approximately where?
On 156, about a mile north of town.
Do you know how long he worked at State Line Farms?
I think about 2.5 years.
When he left State Line Farms, do you know where he went next?
Yes, he went to work for a trucking company that hauled milk from the big dairy farms. I think the name of the company was SDM Trucking. I don't remember. I know that when he left there, their name was Eagle Transport.
Okay, so
They
it's,
had had a name change in there, and I don't recall the name of the original.
but you do recall that at some point it was called Eagle Transport.
Yes.
And what did they do at Eagle Transport?
They would go to the dairy farm where the milk was collected and pick up a tanker full of raw milk and haul it to either be a processing plant that would process the milk into whatever product that facility manufactured.
Do you know where Eagle Transport was located?
Eagle Transport was located in Goshen, Indiana, but they had like a small hub in Morenci because there's a few large dairies around there. So they had an area where trucks were kept for the drivers that were local.
Would he still have to drive to Goshen?
He may have, I'm trying to remember, I think there might have been a processing plant there that he may have took milk to. But if there was something big that needed to be done to his truck, he might have to take it to the main shop to be repaired.
Do you know where he was hauling milk to and from?
It was about a 5 or 6 state, Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Kentucky, Indiana, I believe. I don't recall any other states on that.
After leaving Eagle Transport, where did he go?
He was off of work for a year because he lost his driver's license for a year.
Okay. Do you know why?
Yes, back when he worked for CR England, he had gotten into trouble with officials in Wisconsin for driving his semi under the influence of alcohol. And part of his sentence was to forfeit his license for a year, and it took almost probably 3-4 years for that to catch up to him in Michigan.
So he was off work for about a year between
About a
Eagle
year.
Transport and his next job?
Correct.
And what was the next job?
3D Transport
Do you know where that's located?
on 127 north of West Unity, Ohio.
Do you remember when he was employed there?
Sometime after Tanner was born in 2005, I'm going to say maybe 2007 or 8.
Okay. Could it,
I don't recall.
okay, so could it have been later than 2008?
It's possible, yes.
And what did the defendant do for 3D Transport?
Drove semi, hauling scrap out of a facility in Holiday City, Ohio. And they would, I don't even remember where they hauled. But he might be gone overnight and then back home for a night and then be gone again overnight, from what I recall.
Do you know if he made trips down to Florida?
There was one time that he did a trip to Florida. I was told that he made arrangements to take a trailer to Florida. Then he was on vacation, stayed with his parents, attended his high school class reunion, and then had another trailer to bring back to Ohio.
Do you know what month and year that was?
I'm gonna say it was July of 2010. It could have been June. I don't recall which month for sure.
Did the defendant take either you or the boys on trips with him while working at 3D?
Yes. I would only do like if it was a couple hour trip. I never did an overnight trip. When he went to Florida, he took one of the boys with him and they got to spend time with their grandma and grandpa and their aunt. Another time, he had one of the boys with him, and when he got to the facility, they were not allowed to have riders, and he was only about an hour from my sister Jenny, who lived in South Bend, and so they met at a truck stop, and Alexander got to spend a couple days with his cousins in South Bend.
Do you recall when that trip was?
Probably 2006.
During the marriage, did the defendant talk to you about having to pay child support from his employment checks?
Yes.
And what were those discussions?
If only he didn't have to pay the child support, the check would be bigger.
Did he say anything else about it?
Not that I recall.
Tell me about your relationship with the defendant from the time you were married in 2001 until the divorce.
I thought we had a great relationship. I mean, we had disagreements like any couple, but things were going great for us. We bought a house. We were in the process of turning it into our home.
Where did you buy a house at?
In Morenci,
What's the address?
112 Congress Street.
And you said you were in the process of making it your own.
Correct.
Is that because it needed work, or
Yes.
you just mean?
It was a house that had been foreclosed on, and so there was just cosmetic things that needed to be updated.
Do you recall what year you bought that house?
In 2007. Might have been 2006.
During the relationship, were there other periods of time where the defendant was unemployed?
Not that I can recall.
When the defendant is home from his trips or unemployed or whatever, what did he spend his time doing?
He would spend a little time with the boys. The majority of his time he was on his computer playing online role-playing games like EverQuest or Dungeons and Dragons.
Did you ever play these games?
I tried one time and it was not for me.
What type of game are these?
They're role-playing where you create a character and then you interact with other characters around the world.
When you're interacting with these other characters around the world, are they actually other players?
Correct, they are. And you can talk and
Okay. So for an example, Sally Smith from Colorado could be online and you guys could communicate on
sure,
there?
yes.
How many computers did the defendant have?
He had a desktop computer and then he also had a laptop.
You indicated that the defendant lost his license for an incident involving drinking. Was the defendant drinking during this time? And when he was drinking, did that change how he played the online games?
I don't know that it changed it. I think it kept him awake and he would play for hours, like 12, 18 hours at a time.
So if he was drinking beer, he would be
Just stay
up.
on the computer.
Did you guys go to church?
The boys and I did initially, yes. Not regularly, but several times a year.
Where did you go?
The Methodist Church in Morenci,
Who was the pastor of that church in 2010?
Donna Galloway.
Did the defendant go to church with you and the boys?
Not initially, no. Not until we separated.
And when was I'm going to talk more in detail about the separation, but when was the separation?
In September of 2010.
Did the defendant have friends locally there in Morenci?
He had a couple. One was a coworker, and they did some things together. He was a single man. Sometimes he would come to our house and we'd cook out. But he was very much like a homebody.
Did you know Mark and Michelle Pilbeam?
I did.
Was the defendant friends with them?
Yes.
Did you do family activities together?
We did a few.
Like what?
We went to a one-year anniversary celebration for a local pizza shop that they had games and music, and so we went to that with them.
Did you guys do camping trips as family?
And we also went Memorial Weekend. We did a big family camping trip. Mark and Michelle were there. My sister Jenny and her husband came with their tent. We had our tent. And then my mom and dad and my sister Tennille and her husband at the time had their campers. And we had like 3 adjoining lots.
Where did you go camping?
Funny Farm.
Where was that at?
I believe the address is Pioneer, Ohio. It's just across the state line.
And you said you went on Memorial Weekend. Was that Memorial Weekend of 2010?
Of 2010, correct.
Describe the Funny Farm location to me, the terrain. Like,
It is off a dirt road, woods and fields all around, out country. very secluded. They have a big swimming hole.
Do you know how many acres we're talking about?
I have no idea.
Are there any bodies of water?
Yes.
What, lakes, rivers, what?
There's a big lake/pond, like one end is where they can swim, and then the other end is perfect for fishing or kayaking, canoeing.
And that is right there on the campground property?
Yes.
Surrounding the campground property, do you know if there's any marshes, rivers, ponds?
I have no idea.
Did you and the boys and the defendant go on any other camping trips throughout the course of your marriage?
The boys and I did, after I had separated from the defendant. We went on a camping trip with my parents to Harrison Lake, which is outside of Fayette, Ohio. It's a state park in Ohio.
And is that before Thanksgiving of 2010, but after you split up?
Correct. It was about a month before Thanksgiving.
Did you go anywhere else during that separation period with the boys?
Not that I can recall.
Did the boys become involved in Boy Scouts at all?
Andrew was in Boy Scouts for 2nd grade, and then didn't have the opportunity.
Was the defendant involved in Boy Scouts?
Yes.
Tell me about that.
He was, I can't remember if he was like a co-leader or if he was just a parent that helped, but that was something that he and Andrew did together.
Where did they, I guess I don't know the correct term for Boy Scouts when they meet. Is it just a meeting?
Yeah.
Where would they have their meetings at, if you know?
I believe it was in the basement of a Methodist church.
Any other locations?
Not that I can recall.
So you indicated earlier that in September of 2010, the marriage kind of started to break down.
Correct.
Do you recall what the breaking point was?
Yes.
When was that?
September 13th.
Was there, so September 8th would have been the week before. Do you
Correct.
remember an incident that happened?
I don't recall the exact date, but I know there was a phone conversation between the defendant and myself. He had indicated he would like to try and move to Florida. There were more jobs in Florida. And initially I told him I was not moving to Florida. I'm not a fan of hot weather. And Florida is not some place that I would choose to move to live year-round. I also said the new boys are established in school, they have friends here, my friends are here, family. He just kept saying, you know, there's more jobs, I can get these jobs, I can have steady work, steady income.
Did you want to move to Florida at that time?
Did I?
Yes.
Absolutely not.
Why not?
The main reason I didn't want to leave my family. I was born and raised in Morenci. I didn't want to live somewhere else. And also, at that time, I still had my felony conviction, and I had to register my address where I lived. And I had came home to Morenci and was welcomed back, and for the most part, There was no judgment. People knew me. They knew my story. They knew how I felt about what had happened, that what I did was wrong. I never denied anything. And to move not only to a new community, but a completely different state where no one knows me, the first thing they're gonna know or see is my status as a sex offender, and that would shed a horrible light on my children. How are they ever gonna make friends, be able to have a normal childhood with friends coming over to spend the night, that type of thing. And I just didn't want that for my children.
By this time, September 8th, 2010, are you feeling a different way about the nature of the relationship? Is John expressing any ideas about your family or how you're spending time with people or anything like that?
John was always very jealous of my relationship with my daughters, with my family. He did not have that close relationship with his family. It was, I almost felt like I was being made to choose.
Is it just with your daughters that he was jealous?
No, my sisters, my friends, my parents, it was everyone.
Can you give me an example of why you used the term you felt like he was being jealous about your relationships with other people?
He just would make, why do you have to spend so much time with whoever it would be?
Would he be upset?
Why do we have to go to all these Christmases or an Easter function or whatever? It was tradition. It was things that we had always done.
Did you have any family down in Florida? And I apologize if you already answered that question.
No, I do not.
Did you have any friends in Florida at that time? Did you have any certain feeling about the fact that you wouldn't have any friends or family with you down in Florida?
To some extent, yes, just because I've always lived near family. I mean, I grew up in a house that was divided from my grandparents by a driveway. So, family's always been huge.
Do you recall telling law enforcement back in 2010 you would essentially be isolated?
Yes.
And do you believe that's an accurate description of how you would have felt at that time?
100%.
So that phone call happens. Let's fast forward till the next event that you remember.
September 13th, I took the boys to school. It was the second week of school. I took their medication for asthma for Alexander and Tanner, filled out all the paperwork, gave instructions, what they needed to do. Then I had business that I had to take care of here in Adrian. My daughter brought me because the defendant had told me he needed the family vehicle because the trip that he was taking that day was not a very long one. He would be back home early, and it would just be easier for him to take the van.
So on that Monday, September 13th,
Correct.
The trip he would be taking, was that for work?
Yes.
And was he working at 3D at that time?
Yes.
Okay, go
As
ahead.
far as I knew.
Okay, so he takes the van.
He takes the van, gives me a kiss, leaves for work. I get the boys up, take them to school, come to Adrian, take care of my business, have breakfast with my daughter. We come back home. I believe it was around 10:30. That's the time that has always been in my mind.
In the morning?
I had 10:30 in the morning, I had a message on my home answering machine from the school secretary. And I don't recall word for word, but the basic gist of her message was that she was confused. John had came into the school, signed all 3 boys out of class, didn't want to take any homework, anything. He had inquired to her about transferring records because they were headed to Florida.
Based on that phone call, what did you do?
I'm trying to recall if I called him and tried to get him to answer and he didn't. So then I reached out to Chief Weeks and I said, this is what's going on. I don't know if there's anything you can do to help me. Or am I just whatever, he got them and,
Okay, what
you
happens?
know. So Chief Weeks came, we talked, he took John's phone number, he said, let me call him, see if I can get a hold of him, see if he'll talk to me. And if you're willing, we can meet at the police station and try to get a feel of where John's at, what his plans are. And I said, that's fine.
Did he come back?
He did.
What happens?
We sit with Chief Weeks, we talk.
Where are you at this time, where you guys are all meeting with Chief?
At the police station in Morenci.
All right.
My comment or thoughts to John was, why this? It's like it came out of the blue. Yes, he had talked about wanting to move there as a family, but yet he decides to do it without me and take the boys with him. So that had me wondering what was his thinking, and I said, and you can't just take off and go to Florida and think that you're going to walk into any school down there and register them. You don't have a birth certificate, you don't have immunization records, you're moving across the country. Ultimately, we decided that we would go to the house, I would find their birth certificates, immunization records, anything that I thought was pertinent that he may need.
Were you looking for those documents so that he could move to Florida with the boys?
Pretending that I was looking for those documents.
Okay.
I knew right where they were. I had them 2 seconds after I walked in my house.
Why were you pretending to look for the documents?
Because before John got to the police station, I was able to retain an attorney for guidance on what I could do to keep him from taking my sons out of the state. And my daughters, Brittany and Courtney, on my behalf, met with this attorney and did the paperwork and was able to get things started for, in order for me to stop him from taking the boys out of the state of Michigan, I needed to file for divorce. I said, do what you have to do. I don't want my sons being taken. So.
Okay, I'm gonna stop you. So on September 13th,
Correct,
you filed for divorce,
I did.
okay? And that was to stop John from taking the boys to Florida?
Yes, once I did the paperwork to file for divorce, then he also did I don't remember the exact name of what the paperwork was, but basically I had custody of the boys and neither one of us could take the children out of the state without permission from the other parent.
And you filed that on the same day you filed the divorce?
Correct.
All right. And is that the paperwork you were waiting for Brittany and Courtney to bring back?
Yes, it was. They were bringing it, and they had already contacted an officer in Morenci, and he was going to come and serve the paper to John.
So now you're back at the, is it Congress Street residence looking for the paperwork?
Yes.
And who's all there at the time?
Myself, the boys, John, my friend Amanda was there, and then my mom and her friend Kathy were outside with the boys, just kind of entertaining them, so to speak, so that they were in the house to witness everything that was going on.
Okay. I'm going to briefly jump back in to where you were meeting at the police department with Chief Weeks and the defendant. Did you know Chief Weeks prior to this conversation?
I mean, I knew he was our chief, but I had never talked to him.
Okay. So when you say chief of Morenci Police Department?
Correct.
Okay. Do you know if he had any other friends within your family?
Chief Weeks?
Yes.
No, other than just being the chief of police in Morenci and knowing of his community members.
How big is Morenci?
2,000 people? I don't know.
Good guess? I mean,
Thereabouts.
is it a guess?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're back at the house, pretending to look for documents, waiting for these court orders.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
I don't know how long we had been there, and the defendant received a phone call. And the ironies of irony, the attorney that I retained, the defendant had a previously scheduled meeting with the same attorney at 4 o'clock that afternoon.
How do you know that?
Because I believe the attorney told me eventually, but when the defendant received the phone call, he came out of the computer room, and I don't even remember the words, but he was yelling at me that I'd been lying to him. I had no intention of finding records. He was wasted all this time. I'm going to Florida. And storms outside. Tanner was in the house. He had come in the house for something, and he was behind me. The defendant tried to grab him. I wouldn't let him. He got outside and was able to get the older two boys into the vehicle. He, for lack of a better word, peeled out of the driveway very erratically, almost hitting my dad and my sister in the process because they were walking up to the house. One of the boys was standing in the van crying because they didn't know what was going on. They were not even buckled into the seat. And he took off around the corner.
Okay. At the time that he gets the boys in the van before he takes off again, is there any conversation between you and him about the fact that you've now filed for divorce,
No.
that you now are looking to keep the boys, getting an order to keep the boys in the state of Michigan?
I do not recall. It all happened so fast. I know that the paperwork was literally 2 blocks away, on its way to be delivered to him.
So-
And I do know that I don't recall everything that was said.
So he takes off and he does not get served with the divorce papers or the order
No,
for domicile.
no. So he leaves. I have Tanner, he has Andrew and Alexander. I have no idea where he's at. Won't answer his phone, he's gone. The next day, September 14th, I get a phone call.
From who?
Andrew and Alexander, calling to wish me happy birthday. I said, well, thank you. I said, what are you guys doing? And they said, we're in Florida. So he had drove all night and was in Jacksonville. I said, oh, are you hanging out with Grandma? Nope, we're at Daddy's friend's house.
Did they give you a name of where they were at?
Yes, Daddy's friend Hillary. And I immediately knew who they were talking about because when he had went to his class reunion, he had reconnected with some classmates, and one of them was a woman named Hillary Golden.
Okay. When you say he, you're referring to the defendant,
Yes,
correct?
correct.
Okay, I just want to clarify. And so you know where they're at now.
I now know
So-
where they're at.
So what do you do?
So I call my attorney. I say, all right, I know where they're at. It took me 2 minutes on the computer. I have the address. And the attorney said, I will call you tomorrow. Let me do some paperwork. So on Wednesday, the 15th, my attorney called me. I came to Adrian to pick up paperwork that gave me exclusive parenting rights
Okay.
to all three of my sons. And that evening, my mom, my daughter Courtney, and her friend Becky left for Florida. We drove all night.
Where do you go when you get to Florida?
We go to Jacksonville. We got there probably around lunchtime. We went to the police station because obviously I'm going to need somebody to help me with these papers. So we go into the police station. I find there's an officer there I'm talking to. They said,
Without getting into too much of what they said at that point,
Sure.
What did you guys do, or what did you do once you left the police department?
They showed us to go across the street that I needed to take my Michigan paperwork and have it turned into Florida verbiage.
And did you do that?
I did. They were nice enough. They walked my mom and I right where we needed to be. Filled out all the paperwork I needed to fill out. They said come back tomorrow at such and such time and your paperwork will be ready for you. So I went back on Friday, picked up the paperwork. It was all signed by the judge. The only thing that was different from what they had told me the day before was that the judge wanted to meet with both myself and the defendant on Monday
Okay, so,
in her courtroom.
all right, so I'm going to stop you. So I have a calendar from September 2010, and if you went down there on a Wednesday, September 15th, 2010, is that correct, down in Florida?
Yes.
Okay, and so then you indicated on Friday you got the order, so that would be September 17th, 2010, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and the court wanted to see both you and the defendant the following Monday, correct?
Yes.
Monday, the 20th of September 2010.
Yes.
Okay.
So, they told me that I needed to, there was a number on the paperwork to call, tell them that I had an order to pick up children, that an officer would come and get the paperwork from me, serve the defendant, and get my son back. And that's what happened.
And when you get down to Florida and you know that they're staying with this Hillary Golden, the defendant told you He met back up with her at the reunion, is that what you testified to?
Correct.
Is there anything else that the defendant shared with you about this Hillary Golden?
He had been telling me from the time that he had gone to the reunion that she was deathly ill. And in one of the phone conversations that I had had with the boys, and I have no idea which date I talked to them a second time, but they had told me they had been swimming and they were with Hillary and her daughter swimming, and I was really confused because my understanding was Hillary was deathly ill and required people to take care of her. How could she watch my sons?
When you say deathly ill, did the defendant specifically say to you that she was dying?
I believe so, yes.
So you make it down to her house, Jacksonville, Florida,
Correct.
and you get the boys.
I do.
What do you do?
We go back to the hotel that we were staying at, and we stayed in the hotel for the weekend. We planned to go to court on Monday and then head for Lawrence.
September 20th comes, that Monday.
Yes.
What do you do?
We go to court. But on the 19th, as we were sitting in our hotel room, we decided we ought to look into getting an attorney. And to this day, I can't tell you how we picked this man. I remember sitting down with this ginormous phone book and started scrolling for family custody attorneys.
So you remember who you ended up?
I hired Jason Geiger, and we met with him Sunday afternoon. I laid everything out for him. He said, I will take the case. I will meet you at the courthouse on Monday.
Do you go to the courtroom on Monday morning, the 20th of September?
Yes, we did.
And was there a full hearing on that matter?
Yes,
Did the defendant show up with an attorney?
he did.
And your attorney showed up with you?
Correct.
During that hearing, were you questioned about being a registered sex offender?
That was the very first question out of his attorney's mouth. So for all of my married life and time with him, there was not an issue with me.
Did the attorney for the defendant question you about specific acts involving your own children during the course of that hearing?
Not that I can recall.
Did the defendant ever accuse you of doing, prior to Thanksgiving 2010, did the defendant ever accuse you of doing anything sexually with your boys? What happens as a result of that hearing?
The judge in Florida wanted to talk with Judge Noe here in Michigan, and so she went into her chambers and had a phone conversation with Judge Noe, and then came back out with her.
What does the judge tell you guys to do?
That we are to drive together back to Michigan, and our vehicles are to stay within sight of each other the whole way. And then once we reach the state line,
Hold on, I'm gonna stop you right there. You gotta may I approach the witness? Ms. Zuvers, I've handed you People's Exhibit 21. What is the title on that document?
final order regarding return of children to Michigan.
Do you see the footnote at the very bottom of that court order?
Yes, I do.
Can you please read that into the record?
including that the wife is a registered sex offender in Michigan as a result of a reportedly brief involvement 19 years ago with a 14-year-old boy. The wife served a prison sentence and completed parole. The wife and the husband both testified that the wife has had no additional criminal or sex abuse involvement since that time.
So, based on that order, do you remember any kind of allegations by the defendant against you regarding your own children? So the judge orders you guys to return back to Michigan,
Correct.
meaning you, the defendant.
The defendant, the boys, and my mom.
How do you travel back to Michigan?
In our vehicles. We had my mom's van, and the defendant had the family vehicle.
How do the boys get back to Michigan?
Majority of the way they rode in the van with my mom and I.
Did you transport either two of the boys and he did one, or he did two and you did one, or?
Sometimes we would switch it up to, let the boys have off of the different parents.
Okay. Prior to I apologize, I said three of the boys. I meant, did you guys alternate with one each of the
Yes,
boys?
I didn't even touch it.
Perfect. Prior to John leaving for Florida, when you filed for divorce and you filed for the boys to not leave the state of Michigan, who was the attorney that you retained to help you with that matter?
David McFarland.
Okay. So you guys all returned back to Michigan, and what do you do when you get back to Michigan?
I go to my mom and dad's house. That's where I was staying temporarily.
Where were they living at the time?
In Morenci at 321 East Locust Street.
Did you have a vehicle during
No,
that stretch of time?
I did not.
When you guys returned back, where does the defendant live?
At 112 Congress Street.
So that was the marital home. He remained in the marital home.
Yes, because as far as I knew, he's the only one that had, he still had employment, and I could not afford the house payment. So after discussion with my attorney, we determined that, I can't afford to keep the home, so.
Let's see if I can log back in this. Your Honor, may we approach? Very briefly, just want to take you back to the issues of child support that the defendant was ordered to pay for Catherine during the early years of your marriage.
Okay.
Do you remember if that order was throughout the entire stretch of your marriage, the child support order?
I believe so.
Do you remember the defendant ever being show-caused or
Yes.
arrested as a violation of his failure to
He
pay?
was, I believe he was show cause, and when he would be behind, he would talk to Michelle, his ex-wife, and she would forgive it and start out over at zero.
Did the failure to pay child support ever cause legal issues for the defendant?
How did I get involved?
During the stretch of time that you get back and you're living with your parents and John's living in the marital home, is there a plan to continue to work on the relationship, to continue the divorce? Where are you at? Where are you headed?
I immediately got the boys into counseling through Catholic Charities.
Okay.
And then the defendant kept wanting to reconcile. He was sorry, he loved me, he could live wherever I wanted. I said, we need counseling because obviously there's something broke. And I can give you no answer until we've had some counseling and get some things resolved.
Do you recall when you got the boys into counseling?
I think it was in October is when it started. It could have been the end of September. I don't recall an exact date. I know it was a few weeks.
Was it all three boys that you got into
Yes.
counseling? And did you sign you and the defendant up for counseling? Did you begin that?
We did.
Do you recall when?
I believe it was toward the end of October. I know we had an initial meeting assessment, and then we were assigned a different counselor. And I believe we met with the gentleman twice. I don't remember. It wasn't very many.
And that's twice between the time you get back from Florida and Thanksgiving 2010?
Correct.
2 or 3 times, I apologize. During this stretch of time, where were the kids living?
With me.
And did you still have exclusive parenting time with them?
Yes, I did.
At some point in time, did that change?
It did. After a conversation with Mr. McFarland, I, on his advice, gave a parenting time visitation to the defendant. I believe it was every Wednesday evening and every other weekend.
Do you recall when that was to start?
I do not.
Your Honor, may I approach the witness? I've handed you People's Exhibit 23. Do you recognize that document?
I do.
Okay, what is that?
It is the order regarding parenting time.
And can you read that to me, paragraphs 1 through, I think, 3?
Okay. The defendant father shall have parenting time with the party's minor children every Wednesday from after school until 7 p.m. beginning October 6, 2010. The defendant father shall have parenting time with the parties' minor children every other weekend from Friday at 5 p.m. to Sunday at 7 p.m. beginning October 8th, 2010. Keep reading.
No.
Okay.
So, did you begin that particular custody agreement?
Yes, we did.
And was that ordered by the court
Yes.
based on a stipulation of the parties?
Yes.
So that means you and the defendant agreed to those terms, is that?
Correct.
Earlier you testified that you thought the marriage was going great, you didn't think there was really any issues. September 13th, do you have any intention of filing for a divorce until John took the kids to Florida?
No. No, I had no intention until my attorney said the only way we can prevent them being removed from the state of Michigan is if you file for divorce. And I said, do it.
Okay. So you're in counseling, the defendant's in counseling, and the kids are in counseling, starting in October. So after the 1st of October, are you still on track for divorce, or are you wanting to work things out, or where are you at mentally with this?
Mentally myself, I was still on track for divorce. But as far as conversations I was having with the defendant, I was not as adamant to him that we were getting divorced. But I knew in my heart I could never come back married to him. He had broken trust in a big way.
Why were you making the defendant believe that you wanted to fix the marriage if you knew in your heart it was done?
He had already taken the boys from me once when I thought we were happily married. I couldn't imagine what would happen if he thought there was no chance of us getting back together. What would he do?
When he communicates with you during this time, what things is he telling you? What kinds of things is he telling you?
I love you, I want you back, I miss our family. Please, I'm so sorry. Just empty words as far as I was concerned.
Did he ever at any point in time tell you that he wanted to go through with the divorce that you recall?
Not that I can recall.
How are you guys communicating between September 2010 and the end of November 2010? I mean, what types of communication?
Text messages, emails, instant messenger, phone calls.
When you say instant messenger, what are we talking?
Like Yahoo Instant Messenger back in the day.
Did you have Facebook at that time?
I think I had MySpace.
MySpace.
I don't know if I might have had Facebook.
Did either one of those platforms have a chat feature where you could message people?
Yes,
Would it-
private messaging.
Would you have been communicating with him on those platforms as well?
It's possible.
Okay. And you said email. Do you recall how many different emails the defendant had?
A lot.
Do you remember what any of them are right now?
I would have to look.
Okay.
No.
Okay. So John had 3 email addresses. Do you remember this email address? I don't know how to say it, so I'm just going to spell it. EQCILDAAN@yahoo.com.
Yes.
Okay. And do you remember if that email had some significance or the name of it?
That EQ is EverQuest, and Sildon was his character name on EverQuest.
All right. Do you recognize this email? JOHNSKELTON dot 1971 @yahoo.com.
Yes,
And was that his as well?
yes,
JSKELTON71 @roadrunner.com. Do you recognize that one?
no,
And if you gave that during an interview to an officer, would you have recognized it at that time?
probably yes. I don't remember that.
Do you remember?
So I'm going to indicate that we want to wrap up the topic of
Take-
email addresses and then we're going to take them.
Perfect, thank you. Do you recall what your email addresses that you were using in 2010 were?
Maybe something with Graphic Biker Mom. I don't remember.
Okay. TANYASKELTON dot 1966 @yahoo.com. Does that sound familiar?
Okay, yes,
Okay. TANYALYNN dot 1966 @gmail.com.
okay,
Does that sound familiar?
yes,
And both of those were your email addresses?
yes,
Okay.
correct.
And the phone number, you said phone calls, text messages, is that correct?
Yes,
And the phone number that he used, 567-239-2072, does that sound accurate?
yes,
And your number at the time, 517-260-0589, does that also sound accurate?
yes.
We can stop right there and break for lunch at this point, Ryan.
Ms. Zuvers, I need to just remind you not to discuss your testimony here today at lunch. Too big a burden that you'll have to go by. And again, for those of you in the gallery, if you see Ms. Zuvers, please don't discuss your testimony with her. Same thing with everyone who is here on behalf of Mr. Skelton. We will resume at 1 o'clock. Those of you who have equipment or those types of things, black is working, so those should be set. Those reasons.